Hey y'all, in this video here, I want to show you some of the stuff that I've had people tell me that I should do with my sawmill. Some of the stuff's really good ideas, and some of the stuff, not quite so good ideas. And that's what I'm going to show you. The good ideas as well as why some of the other stuff is not good ideas. We'll get to that. But first of all, I want y'all to go over and check out my buddy Bobby Sprinkle. He's trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so y'all mind checking him on out. His link will be in the descriptions below. First of all, let's take a look at the throat of this sawmill. Now this is the top of the log, and I got some room to play with. I can go down lower and stuff. Now I was told that if I cut this here, I'll cut a big box on out of there, and then I can have more room. Well, that sounds pretty good. I'd have all this much area here that I can cut on out and stuff. I mean, yeah, I could open up the throat quite a bit more. Sounds like a really good idea, don't it? And you know what? I was really anticipating to do that. And I still will. But hey, let's see what the drawbacks will be to that. See, as you can see, this top cross member here, I can't cut out any of this. So the top, I can't cut out any more. That's the main support. I have these two down pieces that supports the band on the guides, the blade guides. All I got that I cut out is just this little 2-inch piece here and a 2-inch piece over here. Because of the weight of the wood, or the roundness of the wood, this side here won't help me do much good to cut this side out, so I probably will never cut that side on out, because I'll never plan on cutting a timber that's any wider than, say, from this point to over to this blade. That's plenty wide enough for anything that I'll ever cut. Now this piece here, I do plan on cutting on out, because then I can cut like almost a 5.5-inch wide beam by, say, 12.5 right off the top. So that's something that I will be looking at. There's the pros and cons of cutting out the throat on this thing. There was another deal that I read an article on, or a comment rather, not an article, but a comment that somebody wrote that said how you can get 2 more clearance of height out of your sawmill, and I thought it was a real good idea. So let's check this one on out. Now the idea that I was told about was take this handle here. Now you can see that with my sawmill, let me get it in the picture there. With my sawmill, I can only come up maybe 1 more inch here. That's all the higher the sawmill will come up until it hits this T-handle. But if I take this T-handle off and I attach it all the way up here, then that will allow me to travel from here all the way up to here, give me about 3 to 4 more inches of headroom, of height off the sawmill. So I thought that was a great idea. I might even devise a way to attach this here, instead of attaching to this bar here, attaching it up above and angling it on down some more to get it, you know, at a lower height for me that's more convenient. That's something I'll have to work out the details on that this spring. Now, this next one is not anything that anybody told me on YouTube, but a good friend of mine here in town that has his own sawmill, he told me something, so here I want y'all to check out this idea here too. See, now my friend was telling me that when you're not going to be using your sawmill for long periods of time, that it's a good idea to release the tension off this band. Let me get it here. So the band is not that tight. Because what happens is, where this band is putting 2,500 pounds of pressure, or whatever it is, on this belt, it's pushing on it, and that's a lot of pressure that it's pushing on this belt all the way around on this half of the wheel. And it's the same with that pulley on that side. A lot of pressure on it. And when it sits for long periods of time, this belt is getting flattened out on the side. And so you can end up with a little bit of shake on your sawmill when it's cold until everything balances on out. So he says the best thing is take the pressure when your sawmill is not in use. Take it off the band sawmill. Well, I've been doing some thinking. How do I do that? You see, the problem is with this side here is to adjust the tension. I adjust the tension with this one here, tighten and lower, you know, tighten or loosen it. Got to loosen this nut, loosen this nut to tighten and loosen the tension. With this nut here, I adjust the tracking. And I don't want to mess with the tracking or the tension. I want it to always be set the same. Of course, when you change the blade, I understand you always got to fine tune. Okay, I got that. I'm not talking about that part of it. Over here, I have the tracking for up and down, for side to side. That I can track the wheels this way or this way with these different nuts here. That's just the tracking. I'm thinking with this setup here with the tracking, I can manage to set up a whole separate deal. This is in a sliding unit that I can actually loosen and tighten it just with a quick release. It's all the way on or it's all the way off, one way or the other. But it doesn't mess with the tracking of anything. It will just slide that wheel pivot all the way forward or all the way back, and lock it in place. That's what I'm thinking about here. So I just flip a lever and that would release the tension. Pull it back, then put the tension right back to exactly where it was before when the last time I used it. That's what I'm thinking. I wouldn't mind having some feedback on that though. Next we have the water supply. And that's kind of an irritating source with me. And I've known all along what I need to do, but here I'm going to show this on video again. So here it is, folks. Here we have the water supply coming on out. Here's the copper tubing. It's supposed to dribble and fall right down on the onto the blade. Now the problem that I have with that is the more pressure that I put on it, it shoots out past the blade. If I don't put enough pressure on it, it falls behind the blade, not keeping the blade cool. And as the water tank raises and lowers, it changes all that. So I need to get a longer piece of tubing. I could make this tubing work, but this is really rigid copper tubing. It doesn't bend very easy. So I want to get a longer piece of copper tubing to replace this one with, and then and a softer one. Then I can bend it straight down to direct the water straight down on here, so no matter what the pressure is, at least the water's landing on the blade. That's that fix. But I also want to fix the problem of the gravity flow. Is when the tank is full, it dumps more water. When it's empty, it's dumping less water. I'd like to have that more consistent. So let's see what we got going back here. Now the guy that I had talked to on this water system deal that told me about this, I wish I could remember his name to give his credit where credit is due. But he said that he has on his sawmill just a flat out on-off valve on the hose here. Turns it on and off. And then he has another valve up here that regulates the flow of the water, and he dials that down to trickle, whether it's higher flow, but he can kind of regulate the volume of water that's going through it at any time with one, and the setting is always the same. And then whenever he just wants to turn it on or off, he uses the other switch, and he doesn't adjust this one. Now I believe the guy also said he installed a low voltage pump where he's pumping the water too, so he didn't have to worry about as the tank went from here down to here. This is only like, I don't know, a half a gallon of water, maybe I think it's a half gallon of water, maybe a little bit more. And I think he used a 5-gallon can, and I think a 5 gallons of water up here would be great. Even a 2 gallons, 1 to 2 gallons would be fine for most of the stuff that I'm cutting. Then we're back to one more thing, unless I think of something else later, and then it will be too late for the video. Another thing that I heard was that I thought was a good idea, and I don't know how good of an idea it is until I try it. But one video channel that I follow, the guy says that if you preset the teeth, when he gets his Bandsford sawmill, he sets the teeth even more, and he says he likes it a lot better. He gets a lot better cut, a lot less hassle and pinching on the bands and stuff. So I'm thinking I would like to try that. I do know that I want to be able to set the teeth when I do sharpen it, because each time you sharpen the teeth, you grind down a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more on that tooth, and pretty soon you don't have any tooth set on your saw blade. And that makes it, it creates more friction on your blade. The wider the set on the teeth, the less friction you're going to have on your blade. So that's kind of why I'm thinking the guy's right on that. The less friction on this blade, the better. This here tooth set is supposed to, be able to get on here and crimp and squeeze, and adjust the tooth to give it a tooth set. Then you come up the other way and go this way here. Now, I got this from Idaho Hillbilly, and Gator's World, he was saying that he thinks this was made for a regular saw, you know, like a radio alarm saw or something like that, something with wider blades. Possibly so. Neither me or Kevin, Idaho Hillbilly, are tooth setters or saw sharpeners. So, you know, I knew that buying this from Kevin. I have no complaints whatsoever on that. Not that I've got to use this tooth set yet, but I'm very happy with it. And I did write a email to Idaho Hillbilly just asking him if there was a part missing. Yeah, basically he said, by golly, he don't remember any of the parts that were with it. And he was going to send me all my money back. And I told him, no, don't do that. No, he says, I'll send you some beer money back or something. I said, don't do that. He said, I'll send you all your money back. I said, no, I'm happy with the tool. I don't need any money back. You know, I'm happy with it. I can make this tool work. See, what's happening here is it's got too wide of a gap in here. It's for like Gator might say. But what I've Googled up on these tooth setters is there's another, you can see a slot right in here. There's a slot, and then there's a hole right here. There's a bracket that, another piece that goes on in there that the tooth slides on, and then that you crimp it with that. There's more to it than that. I don't know a whole lot on this yet, but that's basically what I'm gathering. And I'm sure that I can make a little piece to go on in there to be the filler of what I'm talking about. So it's not a big deal. I will have this up and running sometime, I don't know when. Looking forward to having that thing going. The reason why I don't believe that Gator's right on this being for larger saws, I don't have any experience sharpening them. Well, I have experience sharpening them. I'm not a sharpener. You know, I just take the file and hand sharpen the radio alarm saws. I don't have any experience doing the tooth setting on them, because when we'd have to give it commercially resharpened again, we'd send it on in, and they would take care of all of that. But all the sharpening in between we dealt with. But my thinking is, this handle here, this throw right here on the handle, would not be enough grip to squeeze to set the teeth on those larger saws. So I'm thinking this is more for like a hand saw, you know, and that's what most of these were for hand saws and stuff, for the smaller stuff, not the big saws. So that's my take. But anyway, Idaho Hillbilly did say he was going to send me some money to buy some beer, and I really didn't. Told him he didn't need to, and then I got an email that said, hey, too bad, you already got some beer money. So Idaho Hillbilly, Kevin, this is for you. Thanks for the mama's milk, Kevin. Just remember, folks, that their girls don't find you handsome like me. They can find you handy like me, and if they don't find you handy like me, just pray that they find you. Y'all come back now, you hear? Bye! And oh, hey, don't forget to check out my other channel, Alf270. You'll be at the end of this video.